Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. One UI 9 Beta 1 based on Android 17 is here. Even though the changelog is very short, but in reality the update is massive with a lot of new features to talk about. I have it installed on my S26 Ultra to show you all the new changes. So without further ado, let's jump in. Let's start with the update size and build number. I side loaded this image manually, which was about 3.4 gigabytes. And here's the new update screen of One UI 9. And the build number ends in 2ZZEF. And now let's take a look at the new features. So let's start with the lock screen. When you go to the editing page, then wallpapers, then creative studio, the create wallpaper button is now showing at the bottom of the screen in blue color instead of showing in this area in gray color. Plus, when you go to the create wallpaper page, you will see multiple tweaks. The first one is the ability to change the aspect ratio using this toggle. And the buttons that used to be in this area are now embedded within the text box. Here you have the doodle or the gallery option. Plus, if you want to change the style that used to be in this area, now you need to tap on this icon. Back to the lock screen editing page, when you tap on the clock, you will see multiple tweaks. First, the font previews are a lot bigger. Plus, we got one more font added to the list. The count is now 14 instead of 13. And I think the new font is the one on the left. Plus, when you start scrolling, some of the fonts always animate. So when I go back and then scroll again to the same spot, you can see they always animate. The thin and bold text are now thinner. Plus, when you try to reposition the clock, the card at the bottom disappears completely and you need to tap on the clock again to reveal it. And when you tap on the widgets area, the add widgets text remains visible unlike One UI 8.5. Plus, the widgets are now ordered horizontally instead of vertically to save space. Plus, the lock screen shortcuts picker is now taller and the icons are bigger. But the most exciting lock screen change is the redesigned now bar media controls. Now you get this really cool animation while playing songs. Plus, when you skip tracks, the buttons now animate. And here's how it looks. Also, the now bar container itself has a more of a 3D effect to it instead of the flat design of One UI 8.5. And when you expand the media controls, the animation is more bouncy. The media controls as a whole got updated, which is something I'm going to talk about later in detail. But here's a sneak peek at the new progress bar that animates in a totally different way. So that's it with the lock screen. Now let's talk about the home screen. And the first change I noticed is how the Finder chip color adapts to the wallpaper. On the left, you will see a screenshot using the same wallpaper on the same phone on One UI 8.5. But the word Finder was barely readable because the background was gray. But now it picks different colors to make it more readable. I tried this with multiple wallpapers and it's always better than One UI 8.5. Moving to the home screen settings, you will see a couple of minor tweaks. The apps screen grid now shows 4 columns or 5 columns instead of 4x6 or 5x6 like before. Plus, the lock home screen layout description is gone. And this is something you will see in multiple areas throughout One UI 9. Before jumping to the next chapter, if you like my wallpapers, go ahead and download the Wallpapers by In-Depth Tech Reviews app that will give you access to hundreds of exclusive wallpapers that will make your smartphone look stunning. Plus, you have the ability to download any of these wallpapers locally on the device so you can apply the wallpaper effects of One UI 9 on any of them, which will make your smartphone look even better. If you want to give it a try, you will find Google Play Store download link in the description. And now let's get back to the video. Moving to the widgets picker, most of the previews got redesigned with bigger font and some minor tweaks. And here are a couple of examples. This is how the battery widgets look. Another example is under the clock app. You can see how much bigger is the text. But overall, no functional changes and they look pretty much the same on your home screen. So that's it with the widgets picker. Now let's talk about Finder. The first change is the removal of the choose apps to search in option from the ellipses, and now it's located under the settings page over here. Talking about Finder settings, the menu items are now shorter. Plus, when you go to the apps to search in page, you will see smaller icons and text. Plus, Samsung classified the options under two main categories, main view and search results. The show search history is now called show recent searches. Plus, we got a brand new toggle called include app options, which I'm not sure what it does exactly. And finally, the reset settings and delete search history menu item is gone from One UI 9. And lastly, when you scroll all the way down in the search results, the show more button is now called show more results, plus it has a blue container around it. So that's it with Finder. Now let's talk about the quick panel and notification shade. The first change is the slightly smaller tiles at the top, while the brightness slider is a lot thicker than One UI 8.5. When it comes to the notifications, the font is bigger, plus the notification settings and the clear buttons are also bigger than One UI 8.5. And when you expand the quick panel, you will see a massive difference in the controls size, including the sliders, plus the dark mode and sound profile buttons are now separate tiles that you can add to your quick panel. Moving to the editing page, you will see slightly redesigned handles. Plus, now you can make the sliders smaller than One UI 8.5. Previously, that was the smallest size, but now you can go a step further. You can also resize the dark mode and sound profile tiles that used to be buttons in One UI 8.5. And my favorite change is when you go to the edit page of the expandable area, now you get access to the add control menu, which is something I pointed out as one of the drawbacks of One UI 8.5. It seems like Samsung listened to the feedback, and now you can add controls directly from here without the need to add it to the previous page first and then drag it over to the expandable area. So that will save you a lot of steps. Scrolling down to the media controls, now the handle is showing at the corner instead of the bottom center like before, because now you can resize it in all directions instead of only up and down like before. And the last change in this area is the slightly redesigned panel settings page, and on the left you can see a screenshot from One UI 8.5. And now it's time to talk about the media controls, which got a complete revamp with One UI 9. First, the container is smaller, the media output button is only an icon now, the song name and the app icon are now centered. We got a redesigned progress bar with a bigger cursor, and the animation looks so much better. The media controls are now surrounded with containers, plus when you tap on any of them, the buttons animate. And when you tap on the media output switcher, you will see some tweaks as well. The settings button is now right on top of the card. The banner at the top is much smaller, and it only includes the play and pause button. It no longer shows the rest of the controls, plus the sliders are now thicker than the previous version with no cursor like before. Now it's time to talk about the new changes in Samsung apps, and I will start with Gallery. When you go to search, you will see a brighter background. There is a better separation between the background and the containers. They have more of a 3D effect. Plus the shot types is now on top of activity, and the items under activity are now separated. And when you go to the search settings, you will see a brand new toggle called highlight keywords in results. So for example, when I search for the word Dubai, it will highlight this word in any image, as you see right here. In One UI 8.5 in Photo Assist, when you make edits, the two buttons you see over here used to be called Previous, but now in One UI 9, the one at the top left is called Undo. Under the Create tab, when you draw something by hand, you will hear a scratching sound as if you are using a pen. And under the Style tab, the More button is now called All. So that's it with the Gallery app. Now let's talk about My Files, which got another redesign with One UI 9. The first change is the new My Files title at the top left corner. The categories or the circular categories we used to have here are now a 2x3 grid. The downloads is part of this grid instead of showing separately like before. The internal storage is now grouped with the rest of the storage options under one category instead of having them separated. The internal storage bar is much smaller. The text is written on top of it instead of inside. The usage percentage is written in a much bigger font. Plus the utilities section is now the last one instead of showing on top like before. When you go to downloads, you will notice that the breadcrumbs that we used to have at the top are now gone. We got a brand new drop-down menu to switch between the file view or folder view. the folders thumbnails are now smaller as well. Under search, we have some tweaks. The suggested phrases are now using a gray color as a background instead of the gradient color like before. And when you go to the search settings, you will see a brand new toggle to show suggestions. And finally, the turn on all files access description is now separate from the container. And this is something you will also see throughout One UI 9, either in apps or under settings. Moving to the app settings and then edit home, the downloads option we used to have here is gone because downloads is now part of the 2x3 grid I showed you earlier. The internal storage is now grouped with the rest of the storage options under one category called storage, unlike before. We also got a brand new toggle under advanced called open PDFs and text files in app, which is a brand new feature. The select text in images toggle got renamed to select text from images in PDFs, and the description got removed. The next app we have is weather. Some of the cards got a new design, starting with the activity card. It's now much smaller than the previous version. The pull-in index is using different icons, and the wind speed is also using a brand new design. The next app we have is Reminder. When you try to set a date and time by tapping on this button, it will immediately show you a calendar view, which also got redesigned. From here, you can pick the day with the suggestions showing in this card instead of showing at the previous screen like before. And this is how you can pick the time. Plus, now you have a minus sign next to each item, so you can delete it directly from here instead of removing the whole thing like before. The alerts menu got updated as well. Previously, we used to have light, medium, and strong, but now we have notification, full screen and short sound, or full screen and long sound. In Samsung Notes, we got a brand new option called tape. So for example, if you want to hide some text in your note, you can use this feature by switching to the handwriting option, and you will see it over here. By tapping on the icon one more time, you can modify the look. You have different patterns to choose from. You have the ability to straighten the lines or adjust the thickness to text, or choose your own thickness from here. You can also adjust the thickness manually, and here's how it works. You can also change the color from this tab or remove all tape if you want. If you want to use this feature, you need to take your S Pen out and start highlighting the parts you need to hide while having the tape option activated. And here's how you can remove the tapes later. Now let me show you some random features that comes with One UI 9 Beta 1, starting with the new location indicator. So for example, when I open Google Maps, you can see a blue dot showing at the top right corner, and here is how it looks when you expand the quick panel. The second change is under the game booster. Now you can adjust more settings without the need to leave the game, like the ability to adjust the performance. And under the ellipses, you can adjust the screenshot resolution. You have 100% all the way down to 25%. And now it's time to talk about all the new changes under settings. With One UI 8.5, Samsung removed all the descriptions from the main settings page, but this behavior is expanding with One UI 9, and the sub-pages as well are getting the same treatment. And one of these examples is the Galaxy AI page. And when you go to search the recently used settings, chips are no longer using a gradient background color, but it's now solid, and the search topics are now smaller with the ability to see 4 items on the same row instead of 3. Under connected devices and then Samsung DeX, you will see a brand new toggle to enable the auto hide status bar and task bar. Talking about DeX, Samsung added 2 new features that will make your life easier when you manage desktops. So the first one is the ability to see the desktop previews by clicking on the recent apps screen. So you can see them here at the top with the ability to create new desktops using this button. Not only this, but when you click on the menu at the top left corner on any app, you get a brand new menu that will allow you to move any of these windows to another desktop. And when you click on this option, it will overlay the different desktops at the top of the screen, so you can choose the one you want. Under battery, I started to see this new turn on power saving suggestion with a glowing animation around it, along with a new info button next to the estimated battery life. which reveals a card saying actual battery time may vary depending on your usage patterns. Under security and the privacy and then auto blocker, we got this new stats page that you can access by tapping on the graph at the top right corner. This one will show you the history of auto blocker blocking apps with unknown sources over the past 7 days, in addition to the last 6 months. Under advanced features, we got a brand new option called voice wake up, which you can use to choose how you want Bixby to wake up. You can use high Bixby, or turn off the feature. And finally, you can improve the voice recognition accuracy or delete all voice recordings. Back to the advanced features, when you go to Game Booster settings, you will see 2 menu items missing from One UI 9. The first one is the screenshot resolution, because now you can access it directly from the game panel itself. And the second one is where to access the in-game panel. And lastly, under accessibility, you got some new settings. The first one is under vision enhancements and then text spotlight. This feature will allow you to make any text on the screen bigger to make it easier to read. Once you turn on the toggle, you get a bubble that you can place anywhere on the screen. Tapping on it makes it gray, and now you can tap on the text. Now it's bigger and starts rolling automatically. You can tap anywhere like this, so it has to be gray to be able to use the feature. Once done, you can tap on it again. Here you can adjust multiple settings like the font size, bold font, font color, scrolling speed, background color, and border color. And at the top, you can see a preview for your settings. Under interaction and dexterity, when you go to mouse keys, you'll see 2 new features. The first one is the ability to use the numpad to control your mouse. And here's the orientation. You can use all the numbers to control the directions, and number 5 is the left click. Plus, you have the ability to adjust the acceleration and the speed, in addition to activating the mouse keys accessibility shortcut, which wasn't the case before. Back to the previous page, when you scroll up, you will see a brand new toggle called Replace Swipe with Single Tap, which means respond to alarms, alerts, and incoming calls by tapping instead of swiping when you enable the switch. So that's pretty much it for today. These are all the new changes I wanted to show you in One UI 9 Beta 1. Please let me know in the comments if I missed anything. But for now, thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video.